Suburbicon stars Matt Damon and Julianne Moore as two regular people in the middle of Suburbicon, which is a city, and his world is about to change. As two home invaders show up at his house, wanting God knows what. And that's really all I can tell you, because this is a type of movie where so much of it is a mystery. The thing that came to mind when I was watching it is like it's a sweater. In the very beginning until the very end, somebody's at that sweater pulling on a seam, and it's coming unraveled throughout the entire movie, much more and more and more, faster and faster and faster. And I think for the most part, the director, George Clooney, was able to make a movie kind of fascinating in that light. I guess let's get into that. First up is the people category. We're looking at the acting, and in this case, the acting is fine. It's nothing fancy. It's nothing that begged for acting range or anything like that. 1 out of 2. I don't even think you're gonna remember the movie for the characters. I think you're gonna remember the movie more so for the things that actually happen, what's actually going on. Characters gets 1 out of 2. I do think that everybody in the movie plays an important part in adding to the plot. A 2 out of 2. It's kind of a weird chemistry, weird in a good way. 2 out of 2 for that. Writing score. While there's a few things said in the movie that caught my attention, I don't think a majority of the movie felt that way. 1 out of 2. I would say that the movie feels balanced, but in the end, I don't think it does because it keeps switching back and forth with the story about the new neighbors. Had it played out by the end of the movie in a way that made sense, I would have forgiven that. But for the most part, it's kind of a separate story all on its own. It does feel a little imbalanced. I will give that 1 out of 2. The story itself is okay, but it's not really focused on as much as I think it probably could have been. 1 out of 2 for the story. I think for the most part, it does feel original. I'll give that 2 out of 2. I've been wanting to see it for a few months now. While actually watching, my interest never really left me as those seams kept getting pulled and kept my interest peaked. So, 2 out of 2 for interesting. BTS score. A big chunk of the strength this movie had comes down to behind the scenes. Visuals, not so much. For the most part, the visuals stay as you would expect them to throughout the movie, so for that I'll only give it 1 out of 2. I liked what George Clooney did here. I liked his unique form of storytelling, his unique view of how he wanted the story to feel. 2 out of 2 for that. I also liked the editing. I like what they were doing and how smooth they were getting those edits to feel. 2 out of 2 for editing. It was as advertised. Nothing false there. 2 out of 2. I definitely liked what was going on with the music. It's hard to kind of explain what I liked about the music, just that I noticed it. It stuck out for me. So for that, I'm going to give it 2 out of 2. Narrative arc score. Suburbicon had a pretty solid narrative structure. The introduction did a good job of introducing you to the setting, what the people there are like, and this family that you're getting introduced to, so Matt Damon and Julianne Moore and their child. Introduction gets 2 out of 2. The inciting incident is ultimately the home invasion, where things start to get a little out of hand and start the ball rolling, or the thread pulling. 2 out of 2 for that. I can't really divulge anything more, like I said before, but there is definitely obstacles. 2 out of 2. The climax is a culmination of everything else. It's a snowball effect, and the snowball is eventually going to come to a head, and that's what happens here. 2 out of 2. Following action, I'd say things calmed down in a strange way, but I wouldn't really say that it returns to a new norm, per se. 1 out of 2. Entertainment score. Truthfully, I was entertained with the movie. I can't deny that fact. So when I think of rewatchability, I think, yeah, I would have no problems checking this movie out again. 2 out of 2. Fun experience? Definitely. 2 out of 2 for that. Do I have an impulse to buy this or own this? For this, I'd basically say I wouldn't mind owning it. I wouldn't mind putting it on a wish list. In fact, that's probably what I'm going to do right after this review. But actually buying it myself, I don't think I would. 1 out of 2. Do I have an impulse to talk about this other than this review? Yes. I can't really divulge much information, and I wouldn't mind having a discussion with somebody about what ultimately goes on in the movie. But it's not to the point where I'd say, hey, you gotta check out this movie, it's crazy. So 1 out of 2 for that. Does it suck the audience in? In my personal opinion, I think it does. I think the audience is going to want to know more, and it's not just one plain answer as to what's going on. It's multiple answers because of that thread that's getting pulled. 2 out of 2 for that. We are down to the specialty score. On IMDb, this is listed as a drama, mystery, and thriller. Let's look at those genres. As a drama, there's definitely some dramatic elements to it. 10 out of 10. Mystery? Absolutely. 10 out of 10. Thriller. I believe that this works pretty well as a thriller, ultimately. I think for the most part, I was pulled in and I was having fun the whole time, and because it kept on throwing mysteries my way, it never gave me pause to think it's boring. 10 out of 10. How is this as a Matt Damon movie? I think he did a great job, but I think he's done better. 5 out of 10. Halfway decent. I do believe that the filmmakers made the movie that they ultimately intended to make. 10 out of 10. If we add up all those points, we get 86 out of 100 possible stars. 86%, which is a much higher score than I anticipated this movie getting. So I am pleasantly surprised. Guys, tell me what you thought of Suburbicon in the comments down below. You can follow me on Twitter and track.tv at the username IAMDWG. And as for YouTube, you can subscribe to me, hit that like button, and hit that bell to be notified when I come out with my next review, which will be tomorrow. So guys, come back tomorrow, see my next review, and until then, peace out and have a good day.